When someone hurts you, it can feel like your entire world has shifted. The emotional wounds can run deep, sometimes deeper than physical ones, but pain, as crushing as it feels, is not meant to be a permanent prison. It's a message, a signal that something in your life needs your attention. Instead of running from it or trying to suppress it, pause and ask, what is this pain trying to teach me? Pain often exposes our deepest fears, unmet needs, or areas where we lack boundaries. It reveals what we truly value, whether it's respect, trust, love, or stability. If you lean into that awareness, pain becomes a powerful mirror. It shows you where healing needs to begin, where forgiveness needs to flow, and where strength needs to rise. Too many people allow pain to become their identity. They wear it like a badge, living in a constant state of emotional defense. But when you do that, you stop living. You start surviving. You begin to see the world through the lens of your wound, not your wisdom. Don't let what someone did to you become your story. Let it be your teacher. Let it reveal your resilience. Pain may visit you, but it doesn't have to move in. It came to shape you, not to shatter you. The lessons it brings can lead to growth, self-awareness, and deeper compassion, but only if you allow yourself to learn from it instead of being trapped by it. Forgiveness is one of the most misunderstood concepts in human relationships. Many believe that forgiving someone means you're excusing what they did, pretending it didn't hurt, or even inviting them back into your life. But true forgiveness has nothing to do with them. It has everything to do with you. It's not about making peace with the person who broke you. It's about making peace with yourself. When someone wrongs you, they may walk away, move on, or act like nothing happened, but you're left carrying the weight of what they did, the anger, the resentment, the betrayal. And that weight doesn't just sit in your heart. It leaks into your thoughts, your moods, your decisions, your relationships. It begins to shape how you see the world and how you see yourself. That's why forgiveness is a gift you give yourself. It's a way of saying, I refuse to let this pain control my life any longer. It's not about whether they're sorry or whether they've changed. It's about whether you're ready to stop being chained to what they did. Because the longer you hold on to the grudge, the longer you're tied to the trauma. Forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. It doesn't mean you have to trust them again. It doesn't mean justice won't come. It simply means you are taking back your power. You are choosing freedom over bitterness, peace over poison. You're allowing your heart to breathe again. You deserve that peace, not because they deserve it, but because you do. One of the most important truths you can understand when someone wounds you is this: people who are hurting themselves often pass that pain on to others. It doesn't excuse their behavior, but it helps explain it. When someone lashes out at you, betrays your trust, or disrespects your worth, it's often less about who you are and more about what they're carrying inside. People rarely act out of pure evil. They act out of fear, insecurity, jealousy, shame, unresolved trauma, or their own deep sense of unworthiness. A person who has never learned how to heal will often wound others unconsciously. It's a cycle. Someone hurt them. They never processed that pain, and now they project it onto those around them. Think about it. Have you ever noticed that the loudest critics are often the most insecure? That the most controlling people are usually the ones who feel most powerless inside. Those who reject love are often the ones who have never truly received it. People who were never nurtured or validated in their childhood grow up with emotional gaps they try to fill in harmful ways. Understanding this doesn't mean you allow abuse or stay in toxic relationships. It means you stop internalizing their actions as a measure of your worth. Their cruelty is not a reflection of you. It's a reflection of their brokenness. You are simply the mirror that triggered what they haven't dealt with. By recognizing this truth, you shift the narrative from "what's wrong with me" to "what must they be going through." That perspective doesn't remove the pain, but it brings clarity. And clarity is powerful. It allows you to respond with wisdom instead of reaction. It allows you to detach emotionally, so you don't absorb their toxicity into your identity. Setting boundaries is not about being cold, distant, or unforgiving. It's about choosing self-respect over self-sacrifice. When someone hurts you and continues to have access to your life without any consequence, you silently teach them that their behavior is acceptable. Boundaries are your way of saying, I value myself enough to protect my peace. Too often, people confuse kindness with passivity. But real kindness includes the courage to say no, the strength to walk away, and the wisdom to protect your emotional, mental, and spiritual space. Boundaries don't push people away. They simply filter who deserves to stay. They define the line between what you allow and what you will no longer tolerate. Without boundaries, you end up overextending yourself, absorbing the pain of others, and living in cycles of guilt and exhaustion. You find yourself explaining, defending, and justifying your worth when in truth, your value doesn't need a debate. It needs a fence. A firm, clear, and compassionate boundary says, I care about you, but I also care about me. Boundaries are not about revenge. They're not about punishment, they're about protection. They're not walls to isolate you. They're gates to guide the right people in and keep the wrong ones out. And sometimes the people you need to protect yourself from are the very ones you've loved the most. Creating boundaries requires courage. You may lose people. You may be misunderstood. But what you gain in return, your clarity, your emotional health, your inner peace, is worth everything. You teach others how to treat you not by what you say, but by what you consistently allow. And when you finally decide to stop shrinking yourself to fit into people's comfort zones, that's when your real healing begins. The desire for revenge is natural. When someone wrongs you, betrays your trust, or causes you deep pain, there's a part of you that wants them to feel what you felt. It feels like justice, like balance, but what revenge actually does is something far more damaging. It traps you in the very energy that hurt you in the first place. When you spend your time plotting how to get back at someone, you keep the wound open. You replay the pain, relive the betrayal, and feed the bitterness. Every moment you devote to vengeance is a moment stolen from your own healing. While you may think you're taking your power back, you're actually giving it away, allowing their actions to continue ruling your emotions, thoughts, and choices. Revenge doesn't just prolong the pain, it transforms you into a version of yourself that's fueled by anger and resentment. You begin to act in ways that are out of alignment with your values and character, and eventually you risk becoming the very thing you hated. The cycle continues, pain creates pain, and no one truly wins. True power lies in restraint. It lies in choosing your peace over their punishment. When you choose not to retaliate, you're not letting them off the hook. You're releasing yourself from their grip. You're refusing to become a slave to their actions. You're breaking the chain that links you to their chaos. This doesn't mean you don't seek justice in the right ways. It doesn't mean you forget. But it means you don't let the darkness they brought into your life define how you live. Because when you rise above revenge, you rise above their control. You don't just survive the hurt, you transcend it. When someone hurts you, especially someone you trusted, loved, or looked up to, it can shake the very foundation of how you see yourself. You begin to wonder, was I not good enough? Did I do something to deserve this? The mind searches for answers, and in the absence of logic, it often creates lies. Lies that whisper, you're unlovable, you're weak, or you weren't worth the effort. But none of that is true. People's actions toward you are not a mirror of your worth. They are a reflection of their own wounds, limitations, and brokenness. If someone disrespected you, betrayed your trust, or treated you as if you didn't matter, that says far more about their character than it ever will about yours. Your value is not up for negotiation. It is not diminished because someone failed to recognize it. You are not defined by the one who left, the one who lied, the one who used you, or the one who tried to break you. Their failure to love you properly does not mean you were unworthy of love. It means they were incapable of giving it in the way you deserved. The truth is, when people mistreat you, they often do so from a place of fear, insecurity, or immaturity. But your identity should never be anchored in how others see you. It should be rooted in how you see yourself and how God sees you, which is with intention, purpose, and irreplaceable value. You don't need validation from the person who caused your pain. You don't need their apology to know you mattered. And you don't need to shrink to fit the comfort level of those who couldn't handle your truth, your light, or your heart. You are not their failure. You are your own becoming. Healing is not a one-time event. It's not something that happens overnight after a good cry, a long prayer, or a meaningful conversation. It's a deliberate, ongoing decision you make, sometimes every single day. Choosing to heal means choosing to show up for yourself, even when your heart is tired and your mind is flooded with memories of what hurt you. It's easy to think healing will come when the other person apologizes, when they finally acknowledge the damage they caused, or when you get closure. But the hard truth is, closure doesn't always come from them. It comes from within you. Waiting for them to fix what they broke only delays your growth. You must decide to heal even without their permission, even without their remorse. Some days you'll feel like you've moved on, and then out of nowhere, a song, a place, a message, or a memory can bring the pain rushing back in. And in those moments, you have to remind yourself, healing is not linear. You're not failing just because you feel the ache again. That's part of the process. It's like peeling back layers of an old wound. Each time, you get a little deeper, a little stronger, a little more free. Healing is also about choosing not to numb yourself anymore, not avoiding your emotions or pretending you're okay when you're not. It means facing the discomfort, sitting with your pain, and still choosing to take care of your heart. It means speaking kindly to yourself instead of blaming yourself for the actions of others. You may not control what broke you, but you do control how you rebuild. Every time you choose peace over bitterness, forgiveness over vengeance, growth over stagnation, you take another step forward. Healing isn't passive, it's intentional, it's messy, but it's also sacred because every small act of self-love, rest, reflection, boundaries, journaling, prayer, saying no, is a vote for your future self. Pain can either destroy you or develop you. It depends on what you do with it. Most people see pain as something to escape, to suppress, or to forget. But what if the very thing that wounded you was the key to unlocking your greatest strength? What if your deepest hurt was actually the birthplace of your highest calling? When you've been through something that broke you, you gain a perspective others don't have. You understand struggle. You understand loss, betrayal, disappointment, and heartbreak in a way that textbooks and lectures can't teach. That pain gives you insight, depth, and emotional strength that no comfort zone could have ever provided. You were never meant to just survive your pain. You were meant to transform it, to turn it into purpose, to use it as a platform to lift others who are still stuck in the dark. The scars you carry are not shameful. They are sacred. They are living proof that you didn't give up when everything in you said you should. They are a reminder that what tried to bury you failed. Purpose doesn't always begin in passion. It often begins in pain. Some of the most powerful leaders, healers, and voices of hope were born out of the ashes of their own suffering. Their message had weight because it came from experience. Their purpose had power because it was fueled by truth. You don't have to wait until you're fully healed to begin helping others. Sometimes simply sharing your story, even the messy parts, can bring light into someone else's darkness. You may never know who needs your journey as a map for their own. Your vulnerability could be the very thing that gives another person permission to hope again. Pain has a way of pointing you toward what truly matters. It clarifies your values, deepens your empathy, and strengthens your resolve. When you allow it to shape your mission instead of sabotage your mindset, you step into a version of yourself that's not just surviving, but leading, loving, and living with divine intention. At the end of the day, you will not be remembered by how perfectly you lived, but by how gracefully you rose from what tried to break you. You are not defined by what happened to you, but by what you chose to do with it. When people hurt you, you have two choices. Let the pain harden your heart, or let it mold your strength. Choose healing over hate. Choose growth over grudges. Choose peace. Not because life is perfect, but because you refuse to let the past poison your future. You may carry scars, but those scars tell a story of survival, of rising, of becoming. And in that story, you find power, you find freedom, you find you.